So in this video, I'm going to show you how to attach the sleeve to the jacket. Again, this process will be done 4 times because you have 2 sleeves for the jacket and 2 sleeves for the lining. I've sewn my sleeve and I did the 2 gathering stitch at the cap. Right, I have a notch that should be aligned with the shoulder. I have the underarm, the center of the underarm sleeve notch to match it with the center of the of the side panel of the jacket. All right, and I have my single notch that represents the front and the double notches that is representing the back, and flip your sleeve on the right side of the sleeve. So, and in this case, make sure that the single notch towards the front and the double notches are towards the back, so that you know which side sleeve this one is. And at the same time, you will have a single notch on the sleeve, on the armhole, and a double notch in the back armhole, so that you match these points and you can install your sleeve accordingly. Okay, so what you're going to do is this is the right side of my jacket, so I will align the underarm notch to the underarm notch of the underarm notch of the sleeve to the underarm notch of the jacket. Okay, and I'll do the same thing from the inside. I will grab the sleeve cap and I will align it, and I'll pull it on the inside, and I will align the sleeve cap center with the shoulder seam. Okay, so I have it attached at in the bottom and up on the top, and then I will align single notch to single notch on the sleeve. Right, you have to make sure that your notches are marked on both pieces, so that you are you know what's going on, you know. And I'll do double notch to double notch. Okay, so mark your notches on both the sleeve and the jacket. Right, and remember that we created the ease at the sleeve cap, so the ease happens between the single notch and the double notch of the jacket. Right, I'll put another pin in this area, and this is enough pins for that. Now I need to, as you can see, the sleeve is bigger than the armhole, and that's why we did the gathering stitches. So I am going to start easing or pulling the gathering thread, so that I can adjust the size of the cap to the size of my jacket. Again, in this case, you will need to pull either your top thread or your bottom thread, because if you pull both, it's going to lock your stitch and you won't be able to gather your cap. Okay, there we go. Now I can pull my top threads. So I'll hold both, and then I'll gather and distribute my gathering. Sometimes I gather a little bit more than needed, and then I adjust later. And I am folding my sleeve on top of my armhole. Once I get to the right amount, I will wrap my thread over the pin to prevent it from coming undone. Okay, so I locked this side and I'm trying to distribute the excess evenly, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll take my top thread and I'll pull them together, and I will be distributing the excess towards the cap, right? And then I'll be folding my cap on top of my armhole and placing pins to keep it in place, and evenly distribute the excess. And once I'm happy with my distribution, I will be okay. I came to an area over here where the sleeve seam allowance wants to go to the opposite side, so I snipped so that I can keep them together. Okay? Or you can take the seam allowances of both sides to one side only. Once I'm happy with my easing, I will wrap my thread over my pin to lock the easing in place until I sew the two pieces together, right? So I will start at the center of the underarm for both the side, the sleeve and the jacket, and I'll start about an inch before my notch. Okay, and my seam allowance is half an inch, so I'm aligning my edge with the half an inch mark. And I'll keep my edge touching the half-inch mark. Again, I'm starting about an inch before the center of the underarm notch. And all I'm going to do is align my edge with the half-inch seam guide, and I am stitching from the sleeve, so the sleeve side is above, all right, so that I can see my gathering stitch, and I can stitch to the inside of the gathering stitch. Okay. Make sure that your fabric is flat underneath. I like to anchor the fabric with the needle while I'm removing my pins. And if there is like puckering that you can see visually, you can always use the tip of your pin to redistribute your ease to prevent puckering, okay? So I reach the point where I'm attaching the shoulder to sleeve cap, okay? I'm working on the other side now. Don't worry about the puckering that's happening beyond within the seam allowance. It is supposed to happen, okay, and that's within the seam allowance. The most important thing that your fabric is not puckering at the seam line. Closer to going back to where I started, and when I get back to this point I will overlap my stitching by about half an inch or another inch, that's fine. So I'll pass the center point of the underarm by an inch. So there will be an area of sewing overlap of about 2 inches. And that kind of reinforces this area, because this is the area when you raise your arm creates tension on this part of the sleeve. So that's basically to reinforce this area and prevent the jacket from being torn. Clean up all your threads, and I'll show you that the sleeve is attached, and this is the time I inspect my stitching, make sure that I didn't create any puckers or anything like that. All right, and I have attached the right sleeve. I'll repeat the same process for the left sleeve also. The next video I will show you how to attach the lapel. I have to I will attach the shell to the lining, so I'll show you the lapel part.